Driving back to the ranch, I couldn't get her out of my head. I kept thinking back to the smiles she gave me as we planted together.
Poula, she couldn't have been more than 20, young. And, maybe I was just seeing what I wanted to see, but I could swear there was something there, a little spark between us.
I pulled up the gravel drive, the tires crunching loud in the quiet of the evening, and the first thing I saw, right there in the twilight, was the flower bed, the one we'd just finished. And looking at it, well, it was a perfect picture of the two of us.
The front part, where she'd worked, it was so precise, meticulous. But then, in the back, right along the barn wall, her neat little ranks of peonies just sort of dissolved. They melted right into my half, into my wild, free-form clots of lamb's ears and wildflowers.
Unc was sitting there on the astroturfed front steps, sipping soda from a juice glass. He waved it at the flowers. "Nice work," he said, "though your half's a little messy." I just looked at him. "Ain't that the truth? You're looking pretty rough yourself, old man." He shot right back. "That's 'cause I'm old. What's your excuse?" I walked past, flipped the John Deere cap clean off his head, and just kept walking as he started cursing into the twilight.
I left Unc to his grumbling and went inside. The screen door slammed behind me. I had to see it again, the card she'd pressed into the palm of my hand.
Man, it was a classy piece of tech. Translucent white plastic, and inside it this little repeating 3D animation of a butter knife just slowly slicing through a steaming filet mignon. And there was her name floating right over it, Poula E. Santibon.
Underneath that, it said, Nutritional Tissue Consultant, serving the 5 boroughs of New York, and then her teleaddress at Santa Poula 2033.
But then I turned it over. On the back, scribbled in actual pen, and the ink it made the animation on the other side sort of fizzle and crack, was just one thing, at Nutriel LLC.
I didn't waste a single second. I left a message in Nutriel's callbox right then and there. And my phone just chirped back with an auto reply, cold and simple. All classes are filled. And that was it.
A few minutes later, Unc came inside, clutching that cap I'd knocked off his head. I tried to wipe the disappointment off my face, so I asked him, "How'd it go?"
He let out this humorless snort. "Well," he said, "seemed like they might actually take the financial hardship claim seriously, right up until her attorney brought up the fact that I'm selling the ranch. Said the lawyer printed off our classifieds. The judge would consider it again in 6 months." I tried to tell him it was good news, that all we had to do was not sell, but he just shook his head. "Maybe, but that's not the point." He looked right through me. "We owe her." The frustration was just thick in his voice. But he should have said, hell, he almost did say, "You owe her."
I couldn't say a thing to that. I had to get out of there. "I'm going for a ride." Unc looked worried. "It'll be dark soon, Mac. Come on, what are you thinking?" I know, I said, "but that's just it. I have to do some thinking." He narrowed his eyes at me. "You ain't been drinking, have you? Never touched the stuff." "Uh-huh. Go ahead then. I can't stop you."
The spring air had turned cold by then. I could see my breath, and hers, as I saddled up old Nellibeth. I trotted her right to the edge of the woods, right to the edge of the darkness.
Nellibeth? She knew the drill. She brayed and just launched herself into the trees, a dark arrow between the dewy oaks. The moon-stippled litter on the ground crunched under hoof as she flew over roots and rocks. All I had to do was hold on, hunch down like a motorcycle racer to keep from getting clotheslined by a vine. I didn't even need to see where we were going. That was her job. I remembered when Unc first brought her home from a 4-H meeting. This beautiful, brindled mare. I wanted to name her Nellie, after some kid's cartoon. But of course, it was a weekend my step-cousin, Rain, was visiting. And Rain, she threw a hissy fit. Insisted on calling the horse Beth. We ended up in a full-on muddy brawl over which one of us was Unc's real kid, even though we both knew damn well he wasn't either of our real dads. So he just split the difference, christened her Nellibeth. We hit the creek, and the moonlight just broke wide open. That wildness in her, it just took over. I loosened the reins and held on for dear life as she galloped through the shallow water, the splashes gleaming, sparkling in the corners of my wind-watering eyes. After a while, she slowed down, grazing on a marshy sandbar. Usually on these night rides, I just let my mind wander wherever it wanted, and I let Nellibeth lead the way. But tonight, she started wandering away from the creek, down one of the slopes, towards a place I didn't go.
Towards the way I didn't ever want to go again.
I know it sounds funny to say it like that,
But it's serious. Serious as a dead cousin, sister, lover.
I yanked the reins, hard. She slowed her descent, just slow enough that I could turn her around. We weren't going that way.
Not tonight. Tonight, I didn't want to think about any of it. I didn't want to think about anything but the little animated card I'd left on my dresser, and the way Poula's dark eyes had pinned mine when she'd given it to me.
To be continued.